Hello MotoGP fans, welcome back to ZNGP Today. The 2025 Americas Grand Prix didn't just shake up the results, it's about to reshape the rulebook. Marc Márquez's split-second decision to dash into pit lane moments before the start led to a chaotic chain reaction, forcing MotoGP officials to rethink regulations around flag-to-flag procedures. Speaking candidly in a post-race interview, Marquez addressed the confusion and admitted this wasn't the first time his actions have changed the course of MotoGP history. Just a week after his terrifying crash at the Qatar Grand Prix, Jorge Martin's recovery has taken a positive step forward. Aprilia Racing confirmed that their star rider has been discharged from hospital in Doha, though his return to Europe and MotoGP is still some way off. With multiple injuries to recover from, Martin's early 2025 campaign has been marred by setbacks, but his fighting spirit remains intact. While the 2025 rider market buzzes around rising stars like Pedro Acosta, it's Fabio Corderero's loyalty that's drawing attention. The 2021 world champion may no longer be in the championship spotlight, but with Yamaha slowly finding its footing again, insiders believe Corderero has made a decision that could define his career and legacy. After a difficult few years following 2021's title hangover, Yamaha has embarked on a bold revival strategy for 2025. With the addition of the Pramac satellite team and an aggressive recruitment of technical experts, the blue team looks ready to reclaim its former glory. On the Gypsy Tales podcast, Pramac Yamaha rider Jack Miller explained why this human capital overhaul is the pivotal factor in Yamaha's resurgence. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Just seconds before lights out at Qatar, Marc Márquez made a bold call. Starting on pole with the track drying rapidly, he peeled off the grid to swap his wet tire bike for a dry setup. That single move triggered a domino effect. Multiple riders followed, the grid emptied, and race direction was forced to abort the start on safety grounds. According to the current rulebook, any rider who leaves the grid for weather-related reasons must start the race and then serve a ride-through penalty. But with the race start abandoned, that rule became irrelevant, sparking criticism and confusion across the paddock. I knew the race would be delayed if more than 10 riders entered the pit lane, but I didn't realize I could be penalized if it wasn't, Marquez said. If this all sounds familiar, that's because it is. Marc Márquez has a history of forcing rulebooks to adapt. He acknowledged that his past improvisations, like his now famous bike swaps during flag-to-flag races, have also led to significant regulation changes. One of the most memorable examples dates back to Germany 2014, where Marquez set up his bikes to execute a running leap from one machine to another. That move, while innovative, raised safety concerns and led MotoGP to tighten the rules, requiring riders to dismount and swap bikes only within a designated area. It's not the first time they've changed something in the rules because of me or because I've created different situations. Marquez's decision wasn't just reckless instinct, it was a calculated gamble. He read the weather and track better than most and committed to a strategy that, while controversial, gave him the best shot at victory. Still, the ripple effect of his decision exposed flaws in the current system, especially regarding communication and consistency around weather-related procedures. Race director Mike Webb has already confirmed that the governing body is reviewing the rule to prevent similar confusion in the future. The challenge? Balancing the freedom for riders to react with ensuring fairness and safety for all competitors. We're in competition. There are moments of improvisation that no one expects, and they just happen. This isn't about one moment at Qatar, it's part of a larger pattern. Whether it's jumping bikes in pit lane, flag-to-flag tactics, or now triggering a mass pit lane exodus, Marc Márquez has become a catalyst for MotoGP evolution. His aggressiveness and improvisation often reveal loopholes or oversights in the rulebook. While some criticize his methods, others credit him with pushing the sport forward, forcing MotoGP to evolve in real time alongside its most daring talents. These are situations that MotoGP is also positively adapting to. Once again, Marc Márquez has shaken up MotoGP, not just on the stopwatch, but in the rulebook. As the paddock looks ahead to upcoming rounds, all eyes are on how race officials respond to the chaos in Qatar, and whether future regulation tweaks will finally keep up with the instinctive brilliance of one of MotoGP's most disruptive forces. The crash at turn 12 during the Qatar Grand Prix was one of the most frightening moments of the season so far. Jorge Martin, making his long-awaited return after missing the opening rounds due to previous injuries, went down hard and was tragically struck by the trailing Ducati of Fabio Di Giannantonio. Martin sustained 11 rib fractures and a collapsed lung, immediately raising serious concerns about his condition. Di Giannantonio, shaken by the aftermath, later described the crash as the worst scene of my life. This could have been much worse. He posted from his hospital bed, a statement that offered both relief and perspective to fans and riders alike. After spending a full week at Hamad General Hospital in Doha, Martin has now been discharged. Aprilia confirmed that while his condition has improved, he will remain in Qatar for further observation until it's safe for him to travel back to Europe. Doctors are planning an assisted medical flight once his lung function stabilizes further. Throughout the week, Martin received continuous pulmonary care, a critical aspect of his recovery after suffering a lung collapse. Jorge has been discharged from Hamad General Hospital and will remain in Qatar for a few more days until his medical condition stabilizes. Aprilia statement. Martin's 2025 season has been anything but smooth. His crash in Qatar followed a string of injuries that already sidelined him from the opening rounds. A preseason high side cost him the use of his foot, and just days before the first GP, a second crash led to a fractured scaphoid in his hand. The move from Ducati to Aprilia was supposed to mark a fresh start for the reigning champion. Instead, it's been a harsh lesson in resilience and patience, qualities Martin has had to lean on heavily since January. There is no timeline for his comeback, but it is inevitable that he will be missing for the foreseeable future. Aprilia statement. As Jorge Martin continues his recovery, Aprilia have confirmed that test rider Lorenzo Savdori will continue to fill in at the Spanish Grand Prix next weekend. Savdori also substituted during the earlier rounds and is expected to carry the team forward in the short term. For Martin, the priority now is health, not racing. But knowing his relentless mentality, the paddock fully expects the Spaniard to return as soon as he's physically able, fueled by the desire to defend his crown, and with the full support of Aprilia behind him. I'm focused on healing. I'll come back when I'm 100%, not a day earlier, Martin said. Jorge Martin's crash may have sidelined him, but it hasn't dented his determination. As he continues his recovery, fans and fellow riders alike wait eagerly for his return. Aprilia remains committed to their champion, and when he does come back, it's clear that Martin will have unfinished business on the track. Fabio Corderero signed a blockbuster deal with Yamaha last year, reportedly worth €12 million per season. At the time, it was seen as a statement of faith, a rider staying true to a struggling manufacturer. But that choice came with risk. Yamaha, far from their 2021 form, have lagged behind in the development race, often leaving Corderero to fight solo battles near the mid-pack. In the end, Corderero made his choice 2 years ago, and probably today he is in a position to remain faithful to that decision there, forever linking his name to a brand, Carlo Pernat said. Despite a tough few seasons, there are signs that Yamaha is beginning to recover. The addition of the Pramac satellite team has effectively doubled Yamaha's resources, data flow, and rider input. At Qatar, Corderero showed flashes of brilliance, qualifying third, finishing fifth in the sprint, and seventh in the GP. With Pramac riders and Jack Miller expected to help accelerate development, Corderero may soon have the bike he needs to compete again. They will arrive, and Corderero will be there. Many wonder why Corderero didn't jump ship to a more competitive factory, like KTM or Ducati. But in a rider market dominated by youth, Corderero's window may have already passed. Pedro Acosta, younger and quickly rising, is the focus of factory interest. Corderero's long-term Yamaha commitment has now locked him into a rebuild project, rather than a title-contending machine. If Ducati had a bike, it would be Acosta who would think, given that he is much younger. Yamaha's rise is far from certain, and even with Pramac on board, their progress has been slow. Alex Rin's physical issues have left Corderero effectively carrying the manufacturer. In contrast, Honda, long fellow strugglers, are now showing more consistent signs of improvement thanks to the efforts of Johann Zarco, Joan Mir, and Luca Marini. But at Yamaha, it's still Fabio Corderero standing alone, patient, committed, and hopeful that the payoff is coming. In Yamaha, let's face it, there has only been Fabio Corderero. Loyalty can be rare in MotoGP, especially when it comes at the cost of competitiveness. But if Yamaha's gamble on development pays off, Fabio Corderero could be remembered not just as a champion, but as the man who brought Yamaha back from the brink. Yamaha's decision to secure key personnel from Ducati has raised eyebrows across the paddock. Figures like Marco Nicoda in aerodynamics and Max Bartolini as technical director have swapped the Bologna factory for Iwata's headquarters. According to Miller, this infusion of know-how will fast-track development and bring new technical perspectives to the YZRM1 project. They have managed to poach a few good boys from Ducati, guys who I thought would never leave. That's pretty magical. Having those guys will speed up the process, Miller said. Beyond star hires, Miller highlighted a shift in Yamaha's culture. Rather than top-down directives, the manufacturer now encourages its engineers to share ideas and challenge assumptions. This balanced approach, he says, fosters innovation and prevents internal friction, ensuring everyone aligns behind a unified vision. It's not trying to reinvent the wheel, it's trying a different way of thinking, a different approach to the issues. Miller himself brings invaluable experience from stints on Honda, Ducati, and KTM machines. Together with teammates Miguel Oliveira and Alex Rins, whose backgrounds span Aprilia, Suzuki, and KTM, the team now boasts a collective wealth of insights. Miller believes this mosaic of perspectives will shorten the learning curve and help Yamaha fine-tune the bike under varied conditions. I have got a lot of stuff that I can bounce back to, different experiences and motorcycles. So when I give information or input, I've got something to bounce it off, a different point of view. Having faced career uncertainty after KTM's decision to sign Pedro Acosta, Miller knows what it takes to fight for survival. That personal journey has fueled his determination and underscored the importance of resilience. Yamaha, he says, is applying the same mindset, embracing challenges and using setbacks as catalysts for growth. I am extremely grateful for where I am. I'm trying to grab this opportunity with both hands. Whenever brands I've worked for say jump, I say how high. I don't question it. With strategic poaching of talent, a renewed collaborative culture, and riders who know how to convert pressure into progress, Jack Miller believes Yamaha's path back to the summit is clear. As the MotoGP season unfolds, the Blue Team's human-driven renaissance will be one of the storylines to watch. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!